This is the Knights of the Roundtable podcast. We are glad you're with us today. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're listening, I'm Jack Kaiser, and as always, remember that you can find the links and clips to all our episodes across our social media platforms. Just search at BU Knights. Our guest today just started his first season as a head coach at Bellarmine. He's a Louisville native, the former head coach at Jacksonville State and Auburn, now coaching the Bellarmine volleyball team. Rick Nold joins us. Coach, how are you today?
Doing great. Excited to be here.
Yeah, appreciate you joining us. We were just talking about it. This has probably been one of the fastest moving time periods of your life, like month to 2 months into the job. You're hired in July. What has this time period been like for you?
I mean, it's been everything's going by so fast. I mean, obviously we just talked. It's been a month and a half, and it feels like a couple weeks. But you know, it's been great. It's been fun. It's way different in terms of, you know, normally you have a lot of time to prepare for a season. I kind of joked with the team that, you know, we typically go through and you're going to have all these plans that you're going to take care of in your preseason practices, but then day one you end up changing them anyway. So I didn't have time to do that, didn't have time to do it twice. So it's made it kind of nice because we got into it pretty blind in terms of knowing the team, but, you know, we're just going by what we see. And I think that's fun for them and different for them. We're learning them as we go. We're talking a lot to them, trying to give them a lot of ownership. And helping us move along as fast as we can, but I think it also puts them in a position where they can be leaders and show us what they can do. So it's been a fun transition.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to that where you don't have the time to think about it. You just go and do it, and in certain respects, I mean, there's a lot of challenges, but that may be a positive too.
Yeah, you can look at any situation and the, you know, how it could affect you negatively, but you have the other side of the, you know, how it can affect you positively. And, you know, I think as a group, it's been one that, like they've come together. It's been fun to watch just how they interact. They've been super helpful, you know, in terms of, I mean, there's things I didn't know where we ate for preseason, you know, and so they'll tell me everything so I can go on and get it scheduled. And but then in things on the floor, just the leadership we've seen from them. You know, they come in every day. They're respectful. They get things set up. They're on time. They just do all the little things that when you're starting a program, you want to make sure that that's part of it. And the fact that they're there, they're you know, they're driven, they're excited. You know, I think that's made it just made it a lot of fun to be in here every day. Right.
So you get brought on in July. I'm sure you're still just getting used to like practice time and where things are on campus, but the season started. You guys are 2-1 as of, you know, last weekend. How do you think that first weekend went?
I think it was a good weekend for us. You know, not only you know, you want to get a couple wins. Obviously, you like to have 3 of them, but you know, we lost our first match, and I think we learned a lot from that. One of the areas that you know, we wanted to look at last season, what we could identify, areas that we could change right off the bat that could, you know, make a big impact on the team this year. And serving and passing was one of those areas. And our first match, we didn't feel like we served very tough. And they were an athletic team, and they got to do, you know, offensively the things they wanted to. So, you know, our second and third match, we really flipped that. And you know, if you obviously looking at things statistically, the difference of our first weekend as a group over the 3 matches in the serving and passing area was a significant difference from last year, just by stats. So, again, I think that's an area that we got to see. You know, if you're doing those two things, you have a good chance to win at any level, and that's an area we felt like could be a strength of ours. So, a lot of kids stepped in and impacted us from the serving line, especially. And that, you know, it puts a lot of pressure on the other team.
And when you say serving tough, does that really mean just serve more aggressively?
Yes, it could be aggressively based on the speed of the ball. It could also be the type of movement, the placement,
right?
You know, things like that. You know, we felt like when we had started off that the speed that we were serving just wasn't enough. It wasn't a flat, hard serve. You know, and so that's just areas. I mean, we've worked every day on it. We've had number of injuries throughout preseason. We had to shorten a bunch of it, but we were able to do a lot of serving passing, which is nice. You know, and it's more just a mentality, being comfortable going up there and being aggressive. We're probably going to miss some, And that's some people don't like that, but I think in any sport you got to find ways to be able to keep pressure on people, and be able to balance out those kind of misses. But for whichever reason this weekend, I thought that we were really aggressive, but we were also pretty low error, which was nice.
Yeah, taking reasonable risks. As far as passing, are you mainly referring to serve receive?
Mainly, but we've talked about it defensively as well. Finding areas. So, we looked at serving and passing as areas we can improve, but also just being able to terminate. And, if you just to understand if the ball is being set when it's closer to the net, it's going to be easier to hit.
Yeah.
Okay. And just better swings. So that was an area we wanted to make sure, and whether that's in serve receive or in transition, if we're getting somebody hitting a reasonable ball that we can control, we want to make sure that we're able to get up and get our middle hitters involved, obviously get the full offense running, and that's stuff throughout practice we're talking a lot about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that stuff improved. You got a couple of wins, and now you're at 300 wins for your career.
Yeah.
Has that really sunk in for you at all?
I didn't even know I was at 299, honestly. Scott had mentioned it a few times, and so obviously I knew, before we had played, but it's something that you go through. It was fun, really, in my mind, being with this team, just because they were so excited about everything, and not necessarily about the 300 wins, but just the excitement of the game and getting in there and playing the first time, and kind of you could call it a new era, whatever you want to say, but it's neat. 300 wins. Got a friend of mine just past 800, so we've got a long way to go.
500 more. That's
no
going to be tough to catch.
No problem. I might lose a little more hair by then.
So you're from Louisville. You've coached at pretty much every level around here. Club, high school over at Assumption. You were an assistant coach at Louisville. What makes the sport so special around here?
One of the nice things here is that they start playing so young. Okay, in grade schools, you can go out probably and watch the first and second grade volleyball teams. They're so young playing it, and so the kids grow up around it. And as they go through, and whether it's they're getting into club younger, things like that. So there's just a big history of that. And if you go to other parts of the country, they don't necessarily start that young. And so that's a big difference here, I think, in my mind. But, you can go around. That was one of the exciting things to me about this position was that, you can go to any high school games and, the crowds and the people, they're really into it. They love the sport. It's fun here. People understand it. And I thought that was a big opportunity we could take advantage of.
Right. And you have all these volleyball accolades, this experience. But, what's Rick Nold like outside of volleyball? What else do you like to do?
Well, what I like to do, mountain bike ride.
Okay.
Things like that, beat outside, but I haven't done much of it lately.
Right. Yeah, you've been pretty busy.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I got to make sure to get that back on the plan. But I love to doing things outside. I think that's part with our team getting to know each other, and to know that we're probably doing the normal stuff that they do every day. Maybe a little different. I'm not going to class anymore, but
right.
But yeah, just be around some friends, family. Like coming back here, being I was in Alabama for almost 20 years, so having family around, getting able to go ahead and see them play games. I have a godson, got to go out and watch him play soccer yesterday. So those are the things to me that it's just special being obviously in this job, but the ability to go and have a normal life outside of that as well is great.
What was living in Alabama like?
It's hotter than here.
A lot.
It was great. Areas, that I lived was, a lot of outdoor opportunities there. So got to do that. Obviously you get down there, there's different rivalries and things that, become a little crazy. No different. Everybody's got them, I guess. But
yep.
But no, it's a great area. If you like to be outside, you get used to the heat. Shockingly, it'd be super hot out, and we'd be out riding bikes, and it wasn't a big deal. But definitely happy to be home. Yeah,
I feel like everyone around Alabama just walks around and says, "Hey, War Eagle, roll Tide," just yelling at each other.
Well, I was at Jacksonville State, and I'm, probably a month into the job, and there was a little golf league that people that worked in the university were in, so I went out and played, and the first thing they're asking me, do I like Auburn, Alabama, and I'm going, I like Jacksonville State. I don't know about those two, so just a different thing there. So
but a little bit similar in the fact that, do you like Louisville or Kentucky here?
Yeah.
And, hey, we like Bellarmine.
Well, no doubt. Well, it's funny because, I would say I grew up a Kentucky fan and then started working at Louisville and switched, but the first basketball game I ever went to, college basketball game, was here at Bellarmine.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. We used to come. My dad still comes to games. He and some friends of his, and it was back in, I don't even know what year it would have been, but Johnny Parrott was the point guard. I remember that, and Joe Rabel was head coach who coached my dad in high school. They won a state championship at St. X when they were there. So it's like that was my first experience as going to a college basketball game. So
yeah, you had been on campus quite a bit.
I used to ride my bike through this campus.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. No, all the time, which was great.
So this isn't, it's a new situation, but it's not really new at all at a certain respect.
No, and I hadn't been around as much, coming to games because I've been gone for so long.
Yeah.
You don't go to other people's games unless you're playing there. But again, being around here, I've been living here the last 2 years, so it wasn't in the morning I just had to get up and come here instead of going somewhere else.
Right.
So it's been an easy transition in that way.
Good.
For sure.
So after you left Auburn, was going anywhere else, an option, or was coming back home the immediate thought?
That was my thought. I've been gone for, again, almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And coaching for 24 or something, in terms of college. So I thought it would be a good time. I'm single. I didn't have other responsibilities that way, but a time just, examine what I wanted to do. So,
right.
I'd plan on doing a lot of traveling, getting in gyms, across the country, doing a lot of those kind of things. And then COVID hit and that whole plan got shot. So, and I wasn't sure the last few years. I've you don't know what opportunity is going to be there. I knew it was going to be important to me that it was in the right place, the right people, those kind of things. And, I didn't know where that was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be in Louisville. That was just not, there's only a few opportunities there. So this coming about to me, it was almost a clear message that this is a place I needed to be.
Right.
So.
Well, in your time at Jacksonville State, obviously did great things, took them to 3 NCAA tournaments. How do you think you were able to build or rebuild that program?
I think it's getting the right people here, or there, at the time. I thought we were fortunate to get some really, really good athletic kids, competitive kids that kind of matched what our personalities were, in terms of competitive, but we just wanted to get in, be gritty and work hard. And, I think that was the start of it. And again, once you get something going, you're winning some games, you're attracting, better and better players.
Yeah.
And, I think that was the key. There was a lot of, coming from Louisville and club, I had contacts here. So we ended up bringing a lot of people from this area or, people that we had played a lot, top clubs in, Indianapolis or wherever it might be. But, I think that was kind of the big start of it. And it's kind of been fun here because that gritty, competitive environment in the gym, that's the way the kids already are, and so it's been fun to start that way. It wasn't something we had to work to change and build. They're there. Obviously, we want to find the right ways to keep that and get better in other areas. But I think it's a good start.
Yeah. So it's a similar blueprint for you guys coming here to Bellarmine to try and build it up into a consistent competitor?
Absolutely. To me, if we want to be the team that nobody wants to play, in terms of they know we're going to keep coming at them, just that relentless, attack, whether that's, we're coming at you serving or attacking or defensively, just not letting the ball hit the floor. That's who we want to be. I think being here in Louisville, we have the ability to recruit a high-level player as well. So I think that's going to give us a good opportunity, and obviously we got to work through that and keep building our way up. But, I think the sky's the limit. Right.
Well, recruiting will be big for you moving forward. You probably haven't even had time to look at recruiting since taking the job in July. But what are those initial conversations with players like? You inherit this new team. A lot of, if not the entire team, is strangers, to you. What are those initial conversations with the players like?
Are you talking about the current players or the recruits?
Current players with Bellarmine.
Yeah, I mean, having them come up, I mean, obviously it's a new deal. They're trying to figure out what I'm about, you know,
Yeah.
but, you know, it's been more like they came up as soon as I started working. You know, I was let them know I was here and just trying to get to know each other. I mean, that's what you got to do right off the bat. I mean, obviously we were going out here and learning volleyball and trying to get better out on the court, but you have to build that relationship first and get to know everything about them that you need to and let them know where you come from on things. And, you know, that to me is probably the most fun part of getting into a new situation like this is, I mean, you're meeting people on the fly and you got to get to know them fast.
Yeah.
You know, and so, you know, I think that is, I think we've done a good job with that. They've done a good job with, you know, getting around us and just kind of being themselves. And it's fortunate because we have a lot of kids from this area. So, you know, during preseason, we have some dinners. We go to the families' houses and kind of probably accelerate that process.
Yeah.
You know, being at Jacksonville State or Auburn, we didn't have a lot of people from that, you know, that was their hometown that was on our team. So we really didn't have that opportunity. So it's been neat.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's going to accelerate even more now that you're going on the road with the team all the time with the season started. That's seems to be where you learn a lot about the players.
Oh, no doubt. And families too, because I mean, people walk in a Bellarmine shirt. I'm kind of like, who's that? I need to know who they are. It's somebody's parent.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, we're getting to meet these guys now, you know, met some this past weekend and we'll keep meeting more obviously. But yeah, I mean, as we're getting the time we spend together throughout all of preseason and these early tournaments, I mean, that's, you know, we've got 6 new players and, you know, they're trying to get comfortable with everybody and they've done a great job coming in and our returners have done a great job bringing them in. You know, but that's the benefit when you get on the road and get to spend more time.
Yeah. Well, someone you're really familiar with is your assistant coach, Jessie Earl. You know, she's the assistant coach who was an All-American at Auburn. What does she bring to the table?
A lot. I mean, for me, in terms of, you know, having somebody that I'm familiar with, we kind of have some similar, you know, ways we would teach things. She's a very different personality from me, which is great. She is one of the most competitive, driven people that I've been around. Okay, and I love that about her. And you know, I think being around the players to have somebody that has the experience she does as a player, I think is great for them. But on the other side, the part that maybe I didn't know as much. I mean, she's been coaching the last 3 years. And all the different administrative things that she knows how to do that I don't.
Yeah.
To be quite honest. I mean, that was stuff that, you know, I was scrambling trying to learn what to do, and she came right in and just took control, which really helps out when you have this short of a time period to get things going. But, you know, with our players, I mean, she was, you know, the best passer probably that I've ever had. She's, you think defensive intensity and all the ways we describe what we want to be as a team. That's how I would describe her as a player, you know. So when you have somebody like that in your gym every day, and you know, the expectations change, and she's able to you know, demand that because she did that. So
yeah. So when you knew you had an opportunity to bring her in, it was pretty much a no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, you're going through. I mean, obviously things happen fast, and you don't know, and it's late, you know, to find somebody that's available, and you know, it's one thing, you know, find somebody that's available that, you know, could come in and help you, but then to kind of luck into somebody that can, you know, really make a big impact at that point, I think was a huge thing for us.
And you mentioned how your guys' personalities are different. How so?
I'm probably, coaching-wise, a little bit more quiet than she is. I mean, I think she's just that you know, that outwardly competitive person, you know, and I'm probably more inwardly competitive, you know, whatever the best way to say that. But, you know, I just think that you want to have different personalities that kids can relate with and go to, and, you know, different situations, you need both. And so, you know, again, whether it's that or you know, as we get in and do different responsibilities, things that she's really good in, things that I have more experience in, being able to balance that stuff out, I think is going to be a big help.
Right. Well, you really haven't gotten a chance to do this yet, but let's work on your recruiting pitch here.
I haven't even taken a campus tour yet.
I know. Right. So I'm a recruit. Hopefully you're not recruiting me. I'd be a bad recruit. But why should I come to Bellarmine?
I think you step on this campus and you feel the family, first of all. I mean, it's a beautiful campus, but people around, that's one of the things I've noticed. I mean, whether it was on my interview or just times walking around, it's like everybody's extremely friendly, helpful, okay? You get in and you see the pride in Bellarmine. People that go here, I've got good friends that have been going here for, they went here 25 years ago or recently that I mean, they want to wear their Bellarmine stuff around. They have just a ton of pride in what this school is about. I think that side of it's one thing, but then what we're going to do volleyball-wise, I think you want to be with a team of people that are like-minded, that are driven, and I think people as they come in and see our team and see how we play, see what the environment is, I think that's going to be a big selling point. So. Everybody's looking for something different, but I think what we have here is really special.
Yeah. Hey, you sold me. Throw in a big NIL deal, and I'm all in.
I'll work on that part.
Yeah, right. Hey, that's something that, I mean, everyone's got to adjust to now. It's
sure,
crazy.
Sure. And it's funny because all that stuff and a lot of the rule changes, all the things that COVID and everything, I missed all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's starting back new with that.
You're right.
But I do think that, a place like Bellarmine, it's a niche that people love, and so, I think those kind of situations that, the kids are going to have some opportunities there and hope they take advantage of them.
Yeah. Well, from what you've seen so far through the first weekend, through a month and a half on the job, who's the leader of the team as of right now?
So we went through, and we usually have all the players vote for captains. Okay, and it was really an interesting vote because usually you'll have votes spread out in a lot of different areas, but we had 4 people that end up getting a majority of the votes. It was Anna Lococo, Chris Reyes, Jamie Scott, and Hannah Brown.
Yeah.
So we decided to make more of a leadership group out of them. Hannah Brown got the most votes, so she is our captain.
Okay.
And she does a great job of kind of thinking for everybody, things that they might need. I think as a captain, you want somebody that isn't going to always fight for what they want, but they're going to fight for what's best for the team or ask for what's best for the team or communicate that to us. So, she's really done a good job in that role. All those guys have and will impact us throughout the year. And I think that's been the special part of as the new people come in. I'm like, the older kids have really helped them know the things we need to get done. Okay, set an expectation of what they need to be in the gym. Okay, or off the court, either way. And I think it's just that's probably the part that I've been most happy about is just the environment that they've set.
Yeah. Well, you're going to Miami of Ohio tonight for a tournament, tomorrow and Saturday. What do you want to see from your team over the next couple of days?
I think this weekend we're going to get challenged by, some really good teams and some different styles of play. So last weekend they had good teams, but they all played a very similar type game, maybe a little different speed, but for the most part, they ran the same type plays, that kind of stuff. This weekend we'll see totally different.
Okay.
We'll play Marshall, and they've got a setter who is just super active. We'll play Middle Tennessee, and their height and length, and so it's just different things that we'll see. So as a team, how can we adjust during a game? To different ways we'll have to play, different ways to attack them. So that's what I'm probably most curious about. Again, the other part, most of these teams were playing, as you go through and saw some of it last week, and I feel like everybody has a lot of experience. Like we're going through rosters, and it's grad students,
yeah.
It's seniors, juniors. It's really, really upper classmen heavy on a lot of these teams, and so we'll go against that experience. I think that the way we'll play and the way we want to play, again, I think we'll give people a lot of problems, but I'm curious how we'll handle different situations. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's exciting, and we hope you get 3 wins. We're pumped to have you here, Coach, and appreciate the time today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bellarmine Volleyball head coach Rick Nold joining us on KRT. They've got Marshall, Middle Tennessee, and Oxford, Ohio tomorrow, and Miami, Ohio on the road Saturday before they host the Bellarmine Invitational starting next Friday, September 9th, their first home games. Come out and join us for all those matches. That does it for KRT episode 21 today. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Follow us on social media at BU Knights to hear from Coach Nold and all of our other guests. I'm Jack Kaiser, and Swords Up.